Bronco back in 2021, and it's a fairly basic big bend trim. In the time since then, we've made some modifications. Nothing major, really light stuff, just improving some of the flaws and adding a few abilities.
One feature we really wish we'd gotten from the factory is the 360 camera.
For the Bronco, I did find an interface where you can hook up a camera and then route it in here and it'll show up on the center display. But to do that, there's like this interface that you have to install and you have to rip the entire dash apart. That felt to me a little involved.
Around that same time, I had some bad experiences while driving, so I really wanted us to buy a dash cam.
After more than a year of research and mulling the options, I landed on Wolfbox. They have a G900 TriPro camera, which basically replaces your car's rearview mirror with a touchscreen. It's got a 4K dash cam mounted on the backside, and then it has inputs for both a 2.5K rear camera and a 1080p front camera, and you control all those views right here on the rearview mirror. It's like a digital display, and you can just swipe through. If you don't need a front bumper camera, they do have a version that swaps that for a cabin camera that looks at all the people in here. At this moment, you're probably thinking, oh, that sounds well and good. What does the installation look like? There's actually some really good installation videos out there, so we're not going to repeat that, but I've put a link in the description to a really, really helpful one. But here's an overview of how I approach the installation on our Bronco. One of the big advantages here is that it's a fairly simple install versus like ripping the entire dash apart, but there are some things to know. So here's the unit itself. They have a version with straps where you can put it over your existing mirror, but I really like this version because it looks a little bit more integrated. Well, I say a lot more integrated, more of an OEM kind of look. You notice up here that we've got a few different wires. A lot of the work you do is jamming wires up behind plastic panels. They give you the tools to do so. And pro tip, I actually used some foam that came with the packaging to put it in here to hold those wires in place and keep them from jiggling. So the rear camera, I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but I'm pretty proud of this placement. There are a lot of options with where you can place the camera. They give you different mounts and some different like sticky options, but I was pleased with this because I added this tow hitch to our Bronco, and there's this little section that I don't use. The camera fits perfectly right over here. How do you get the wire from here up to the unit in front? And so the answer is you just remove a bunch of plastic panels and then take it up there. You can't see any of the wires. They're underneath all of these panels here. But as you're making your way through, you can secure them in place just using zip ties. It's all pretty simple. So it comes up here, goes underneath this panel, goes underneath this kick plate right here, goes by the seats here, goes up here right to the main unit there. And then we have the front camera as well. For the firewall, there's a grommet, so the wire just goes right through there, and I wire it up past other things I've wired in the front of the Bronco, and then it comes right to here. And what I really like about this is it's a very, very simple, low-key camera that blends almost seamlessly into the front end. And then I used one of their mounts and drilled into it. I actually made some holes here. This is incompetence, but that's also pretty subtle. My wife, I don't think, did you notice these things here?
No, I did not notice how you ruined our vehicle.
Yeah, she didn't even notice how I ruined the vehicle, but there's a lot of choices. So they've got little, flexible mounts, they got sticky options. But yeah, for me, building it in so it's not obvious was a really big thing. You have a fuse that you go into the fuse panel, and that's super simple. They make it very easy, and that goes to power the thing, and that's pretty much it. Oh no, one more item. If you look over here on the dash, check this out. We've got a GPS sensor. I don't think you'd even notice that that's an aftermarket element. Push the wire into the panels and it connects right up. So from an installation perspective, I'm breezing through several hours of work here, but it all came together pretty seamlessly. It doesn't look like a bunch of tacked on stuff. It blends in really nicely. If I had one suggestion, it would be these connectors right here are a little busy. You got 4 different wires coming off of the unit and going up into the plastic panel up top here. If there was some way to combine those into a single connector, that would be cool. I'm not even sure if that's possible, but just one suggestion for a future generation. What's funny is that after about a year of research, I bought the G900 TriPro with our own money. And then about a month later, Wolfbox reached out completely independently and said, hey, would you be interested in perhaps collaborating on a video? So while this is a sponsored video, and there's a link to the G900 TriPro in the description, plus a special discount code for viewers, everything I say here and you say here is backed by real Muzio money. If you happen to see this video between October 15th and 31st of 2025, Wolfbox has special pricing to celebrate their anniversary. Links and discount codes can be found in the video description. All that aside, the big question is, what has our experience been with the G900 TriPro. We've had it for 3 months and the G900 TriPro has been absolutely flawless. Literally nothing has gone wrong since I installed it. And the fact that I installed it and that worked out well speaks highly of the product. If you swipe to the right, you'll go to the front camera. If you swipe even farther, you go to the dash cam, which is pretty close to what my eyes are seeing, so I rarely need to look at that, but you can do that too. And then go further, you have 3 different views simultaneously. That does make each of the views kind of small by comparison, but if you want that almost quasi 360 camera view, let's say you're doing some super tight maneuvering off-road and you're not sure you're gonna hit something or maybe fall off a cliff, this lets you see everything simultaneously. But for our purposes, leaving this in the rear-facing setup for the most part is like how it lives. A couple interesting things, it has an impact sensor, and so that's made for like if you have an accident or an incident, it will automatically detect that and lock the clip so that it will not get overwritten eventually when it's overwriting previous clips. And by the way, that's a 256 gigabyte memory card in there, so there's a lot of memory to work with. What I've noticed is that in driving the Bronco, especially like bigger impacts, maybe off-road or like really big road impacts, it'll automatically lock the clip, and that's totally fine. Do that, because you never know if it's like me driving like an idiot or someone else driving like an idiot and smashing into our car. That function also works when the vehicle is stationary. It can function as something of a sentry for the vehicle, so that if somebody comes and like messes with your car and moves it and the vehicle is off, it'll automatically start recording, which adds an extra layer of peace of mind. So the TriPro incorporates those 3 cameras we mentioned. What's cool is that it is always recording all 3 of those cameras. So anything that happens, you're going to get a great view on it. You also have an ability to turn off the unit. So when you turn it off here, it just functions as a mirror. It's darker than a normal mirror, but I can see into the back using this thing. Even though it's off, it is still recording all of that information. Diving slightly deeper into the front camera, the big one is being able to crest hills while off-roading and knowing what's on the other side. Is it fine? Is it perilous? Now I know. It also is really helpful in parking lot situations, like when you're pulling into a supermarket and you're like, oh, that concrete barrier there, how close am I? Now I know, which is something I never had before. The Bronco has a pretty long hood, so being able to see what's on the other side of it is really, really helpful. This is a touch screen, as we talked about before, and you're like, oh, this is a pretty wide screen. How do you control what you can see? You just swipe up and down. And you can actually see really high up and really far down. So you can kind of have it in a neutral position just for general usage. But if you're in an off-road setting where your nose is really high and then the road drops away, you can just swipe and then see very low. So that's really, really helpful. Everything is exposed correctly. You've got light spots, dark spots, you can see it all. And in terms of detail, it's the 1080p, which is the least detailed of the 3 cameras. You can still see plenty of details. Oh, look, a rock. And even though I didn't buy this to have a backup camera, because there was a mirror here before, it's actually proven to be really, really helpful because the Bronco has that big old tire on the back, so you can't really see much behind you when you're driving just in normal traffic. And even when you're backing up the vehicle, it's a supplemental view. This actually sees farther than this, which is a little bit more of a fisheye camera. In fact, here, I'm just gonna turn it on and we'll see. Put it in reverse. That's what that looks like, really, really grainy. And then this is what this looks like, super detailed, and you can adjust the view. So these actually work really well together. Now the G900 TriPro does also include a voice activation feature. You can say, take a picture or lock the video, and it'll do those things. But for as infrequently as I do those things, it's harder to remember them than just to push the thing. Using the touchscreen interface is really simple. You've got these sub menus down here on the bottom. If you want to see a clip, just tap that, and then you can go over here, and there we are sitting motionless. How exciting. If you want to take a picture, just hit the take a picture. There you go. It's so simple. Oh, and then over here, you've got your options. If you want to have, let's say, GPS data where it's recording how fast you were driving, you can do that. You can turn on sound recording and click tones. There's a lot of stuff to work through here. But one thing I really found helpful is the ability to mirror or flip images. So you can set the cameras up in the way that make the most physical sense and then flip the image here so you don't have to go like setting up the camera in a dumb way so it looks correct here. Oh, and we do also have reversing lines if you want to do that. So a lot of different options to really dial in the vehicle as you see fit. So the way you connect your phone and the app to the unit itself is with Wi-Fi. Let's access the device. If you go in there, we've got a speedometer if we want that and a live view, but I'm interested in what's on the SD card. So let's load up some clips and see what we've got. There's all of them, and man, there's a lot of clips there. Let's just take this one right here and see how long it takes to download. It's going really, really quickly there. It's like about a 3-minute clip, and so if you were plowed into and you wanted to get video proof of it, it would take, bam, that long. And now that clip is on my phone and ready to use. 2 last observations owning the Wolfbox. At nighttime, visibility is excellent. Those cameras see really, really well at night. One challenge, besides the fly that's flying in my face, is that at nighttime the screen can get a little bit blown out from headlights. And so if you're getting too much visibility there, you can just use that button on the bottom to turn it off, and then it functions like a standard mirror. And then the other thing is I had a really good experience with Wolfbox support. Before I ever had a direct conversation with them, I had a particular question about shipping, and they got back to me via email within 9 hours and set me up for correct shipping, and then even followed up proactively to make sure everything went cool. So yeah, the ownership experience has been top-notch, top to bottom. Encapsulating our experience for adding a front camera and dash cam functionality, the G900 TriPro has been awesome. It's simple, it's reliable, it was easy to install in our Bronco even though it's made for every SUV. Just a stellar experience all around.
I agree. I'm sometimes reluctant about adding features to our vehicle, but the Wolfbox mirror has been so simple to use. It's a great addition to our Bronco. Plus, since it solves 2 problems for 1 price, it's a great value.
In total, we really like our G900 TriPro dash cam setup. And of course we do, because if we didn't, we wouldn't be making this video. If you would like something similar in your vehicle, there's a link in the description below, plus a special discount. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you for more Bronco updates in the very near future. High five! Boop.